and kind of the way you approach setting up those beats, not just to make it entertaining, but also to make it challenge the characters and what they believe. I think that is something I've never actually seen anywhere else. That was pretty good.
Hi everyone, I am back again with another student testimonial. By this time you're probably tired of my student testimonials, but I'm just going to keep going because I have students from all over the world that I want you to hear from. Today we have Dominic. Dominic, could you introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, what you like to do, stuff like that?
Sure. So I am a storyboard artist from the UK. Still breaking into the industry with the help of Raj, obviously. Before this course, I was pretty much self-taught through a lot of sites like Schoolism, Project City, I think Aaron Blaze's site as well. And I'm just trying to learn how to tell stories and hopefully break into the industry and make sure that there's some cool stories going around and not a bunch of explosions, stuff happening, but you don't really care about it.
Awesome. So the first question I want to ask you, Dominic, is, and before I even ask you this question, I'm just gonna kind of, pull some receipts, right? Because the first time we had our interview, we spoke like around like April, May, when we had our first consultation, and I found out about you, and you said, "You know what, Raj? I'm gonna do it on my own." And I was like, "Okay, hope to work with you in the future." And then maybe I think 3-4 months later, you're like, "Raj, I want to sign up. It's too hard," right? So I want to kind of go into that a bit more and ask you, why did you decide? What was the thing that made you come back after the consultation and say, "You know what, I do need help"?
So in the time between me originally having the consultation and then signing up for the mentorship, I did this like animation storytelling course, and it had loads of great information, but I was just struggling to apply any of it. I think with all the stuff on YouTube and all the information out there, like everything you need to know is already there, but having someone to actually explain it to you, and then also kind of like a personal trainer to like make sure you actually do it and someone to be accountable to is also really valuable.
Yeah, awesome. Because that's so right, because everything I kind of teach is already out there. I just kind of filter it down to the really important stuff that we do at Netflix. And for you specifically, I think you really take advantage of me in the way that, you're always like messaging me and asking me, like, anytime you don't understand something, you're like, "Raj, like, I'm having trouble with this." You message me on LinkedIn. I'm like, "I'm having trouble with this. Can you help me, like, figure it out?" And you take full advantage of the mentorship, which is something I encourage. And I think you're the one that takes the fullest advantage of having a professional in your pocket, right? So that's super awesome. The second thing I want to ask you is, you came to the mentorship with a story that you were already writing, like a feature idea, and you decided to do a sequence from that particular film. Could you describe the process of developing the initial idea and taking it to where we actually created the final sequence?
So if I go right to the start, I originally came up with the idea just because I watched Akira and I loved Akira, and I was like, I wanted to try and reverse engineer it and basically pay homage to that. And it just started with an image of a bunch of kids like racing. And I kind of brought that to you, and you were like, "Okay, that's cool, but where's the story?" And you also prompted me a lot about the characters. I think where it really started to take shape was when you started saying, "Okay, where is this? What is the scene? What is the actual, the meat and potatoes of what we're going to be watching?" As far as developing the story, like I had a vision of what it would be, and then it kept changing, and then the ability to brainstorm it with you was really helpful because I would say something, and you would be like, "Hang on a sec, that doesn't make sense," or "This is a plot hole," or maybe that could be stronger. And just like, I think it maybe took us 2 or 3 weeks until I got thumbnails down.
Yeah.
And by the time I was at that point, it was like the first time I'd ever actually like gone from an idea to an actual scene that I'd written. And it was really fun actually because it was you almost don't expect what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
And in some ways you're like, oh, maybe I lost an action sequence or a gag here, but then you also gain something on the character level. So
Yeah.
it was fun and yeah.
Yeah. I would definitely say that that scene transformed a lot with you as an artist because you could see that you grew
Yeah.
in the process of understanding how the stories develop in feature and understanding that process. And we also got to see it happen with your scene because at the beginning it was just a race and you just wanted to do like some
Yeah.
cool action with the cars and the vehicles and stuff. And then at the end, we actually got to get to know the characters, why they're racing, why he wants to beat the other person, and why the other person wants to beat him. And it became more of like a character moment and not just like a race. So that was super awesome to see. All right. So for those of you who don't know, I don't think I'm not sure if I mentioned it. This was specifically an action boarding mentorship, which was 5 weeks, and it's typical like my other mentorship where it's broken up into two sections. We have the theory section where I teach you how to create an action scene, a fight scene, and stuff like that, and then there's the story development section where we actually brainstorm. Right. So Dominic, is there anything in any section that was something that you found the most valuable or was the most favorite part of the mentorship for you?
My favorite bit was brainstorming and the writing sessions.
Yeah.
I think like I don't know where else you would get that until you actually break into the industry in a writer's room, or unless you like go to art school, which I don't, and you have loads of other people to brainstorm with.
Yeah.
I think there was like so many tips and so many like books and other resources you recommended to me, but just the process of being able to pitch an idea to someone and having that like instant feedback on like how another person's reading it, especially a professional, um, that's really changed the way I approach stories.
Yeah. And there's a different type of learning you experience while actually doing the job because I could present to you stuff in a presentation and you're like, okay, yeah, but there's a different type of learning when you're actually in it, making it, trying to convince somebody why you want it like this and them not understanding it, and then you have to rework it. And that type of learning you just can't get with watching like YouTube videos or like taking like a big class, where the teacher only has 10 minutes with you, kind of stuff, right? So that's one of the benefits of working one on one, right? So the next question I want to ask you, Dominic, is, uh, like we said, there's a whole bunch of information you can learn about storyboarding and stuff online. But was there anything maybe that you didn't know before uh, you started the mentorship and you found it out for the first time and now you're going to apply it in either section, the presentations or the brainstorming section?
I think your approach to action scenes, I'd I've seen it in films because like I've watched uh, like Pixar and DreamWorks and a lot of like great animation, but I'd never heard anyone explain like the beats of an action scene and the way to keep it interesting. I think the term is blow by blow when it's like in the cheap blockbusters. There's lots of like he hits him and he hits him and
Yeah.
he hits him, and kind of the way you approach setting up those beats, not just to make it entertaining, but also to make it challenge the characters and what they believe. I think that is something I've never actually seen anywhere else. That was pretty good.
Awesome, awesome. All right. So, the last question I want to ask you is, being somebody who took the mentorship, you know what it's all about. Who would you recommend this mentorship to? Who do you think would benefit the most from taking this?
Mm-hmm. I'd say For me, it replicated what going to a college or an art school would have been like. Having that instant connection with someone, almost like getting a preview of what the industry is like. I would say anyone that's in my shoes of wanting to break in, not being in a big school that costs so much money a year. Um, and also, it's like a really fun experience too. Not just because you learn so much, but also because having someone accountable, it almost makes. I'm someone that much rather prefers to be under pressure than to just be like twiddling my thumbs and like, oh, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know like when this is meant to be due for.
Yeah.
I think having the accountability and having the deadline in a way actually almost makes it more fun.
Yeah.
And having someone to be accountable is also a great way to like make you do the work and make sure that you're using the right technique to get it done in time.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's so true because when you do get into the industry, there's something about a deadline that just gives you extra energy, and that's something you only experience when you actually get a job. So, giving you a preview of that, is always good. So you're not like surprised when you get there, right? So, Dominic, I'm gonna play your scene during the interview so everybody can see it. But let's say if they wanted to see more of your work, where can they find you on social media?
3 places: LinkedIn at Dominic Felici, Instagram, same place, same name. And then I also have my portfolio online at www.domcfelici.com.
Awesome. I'll try and put a link to your Instagram in the description below. For those of you who don't know, Dominic is also currently taking my 10-week story development mentorship. So, Dominic, how is that going? Just for like a quick review, how is that going so far?
It's going awesome. Main points I would say is just like it takes a lot of the points from the action mentorship, but then just goes deeper into them. Especially that it kind of zooms out to talk about kind of the bigger process of making a story and making a sequence. It also, like I've personally found a lot more like right in the beginning stage of fleshing out a story, like where you find inspiration, where you hash it out, how to take like a little nugget of an idea and then make it into a scene.
Yeah.
And also the fact we make 2 sequences together is just like a whole mountain more of like feedback and one-on-one.
Awesome. So I might ask you to come back once you finish to do another testimonial to give a more in-depth of that one. But for now, thank you so much, Dominic, for taking the time to share your experience. Dominic is all the way from London. So with these mentorships, you are not bound by your location or time zone. So if you are interested in signing up for my mentorships or any of my other mentorships, feel free to reach out to me. Don't worry if you are in South Korea or America or Dubai or Africa, wherever. Just reach out to me, and I'm sure we could organize something for you. Other than that, thanks everyone for watching, and thanks again, Dominic, for sharing your experience. Bye-bye.
Thank you.